My name is Bill Fenton, and I was a lieutenant in the Navy. Typically, you would come down through the forward torpedo room hatch. And the forward torpedo room's got 6 torpedo tubes, and it's got a lot of bunks. I don't remember how many, but a lot of enlisted bunks in amongst the torpedoes, the spare torpedoes that are on the rack. In that room is what's called the officer's head, the toilet and the shower. And the shower is usually a closet. Then the next compartment aft is a forward battery. So below the deck, there were 126 battery cells. And above was the wardroom, the 6-man stateroom, the captain's stateroom, the XO stateroom, the chief's quarters, and the yeoman's office. You go through the next watertight door, you're in the control room. That's the heart of the ship. And there you've got the diving stand, where the plainsmen control the depth of the ship. You've got a trim pump where you move water around to balance the ship forward and aft. And you've got all of the controls that raise and lower the masts. Down below that was the sonar room. Then above that is the conning tower. That's where the periscopes are, that's where the helm is. And the torpedo data computer for attacks, that kind of thing. So going aft, also in the aft end of the control room is the radio shack. You go through the next watertight door into the after battery, and below that deck's another 126 cells. Each cell, by the way, weighs about 2 tons. And those are the things that propel the ship when you're submerged. In there is the cruise mess, galley where all the food's cooked, and then the last half, the back half of the after battery is cruise berthing, and they have two heads and a shower. Okay, going aft of there, you got the forward engine room. It's got 2 diesel engines. They're 16-cylinder opposed piston diesel engines that are directly coupled to generators. And you also, in there, you had the freshwater stills to make fresh water out of salt water. Then you go into the after engine room, which was a mirror copy, basically. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We only had 3 diesel engines. During the war, there were 4. And they took one out in the forward engine room in order to put a bunch of pumps and new equipment and things in. So, right, after engine room had 2 diesel engines with directly coupled generators. From there you go into maneuvering, and that's where you had electric motors. And the electric motors, the ship was always driven by electric motors. These electric motors were directly coupled to the screws, the propellers. And you would either be running off the battery, in which case the motors would turn off the battery. You could be running off the engines, in which case the engines drove the generators, which supplied electricity to the electric motors. And of course you could use you could line it up so that the generators would recharge the battery. So that was maneuvering, and then from there you would go to the after torpedo room. More torpedoes, only 4 tubes in the after torpedo room, and a lot of bunks. Now, below the after torpedo room, during the war there was a 7th ballast tank that would flood when you submerged. After the war, they converted it into a storeroom, and that's where all of the spare parts were kept, and the storekeeper had a desk down there and he'd work down there.